Hello friends, welcome to Saral Gyan. Today we'll be doing a small DIY project in which we will be creating our own customizable spam or unwanted email filter using the Gmail API. Gmail interface itself provides option to mark certain emails as spam, but still there are certain types of email which cannot be unsubscribed or marked as spam. A very common example is the OTP emails received from banks, credit cards, etc. You certainly can't mark them as spam. So there is a Pythonic way to get rid of them. So let's start with it. First of all, we'll make a directory called auto underscore delete. Now we will install the necessary modules using the pip install, and the modules are Google hyphen API hyphen Python hyphen client and OAuth 2 client. Once you are finished downloading these modules, you should head to the Google API page. Here you go. You have to click enable the Gmail API and then you have to download the client configuration. Make sure to save the configuration in the same folder which we created just few minutes back, that is auto underscore delete. You have to make we will make a file called auto underscore delete dot py and we will start coding in. First of all, we will need to make the necessary imports, which are import OS, then import from Google API client dot discovery, import build, then from HTTP lib to import HTTP, and from OAuth to client import file client and tools, and then from API client import error. Since we will be hosting this script somewhere on cloud, either on Python or anywhere or DigitalOcean, etc., it's very recommendable to log the process so that you can check it out and see if you're missing something or if it's working properly or not. So we will import the logging module and then do the necessary logging coding, that is logger is equal to logging dot get logger underscore double underscore name logger dot set level login dot debug formatter is equal to login dot formatter slash asc time as name as message as I'm forgetting and okay this code should be here. Okay, we are ready to go. And then file underscore handler is equal to logging dot file handler, that will be auto underscore delete dot log, and lastly file underscore handler dot set formatter as formatter and logger dot add handler file underscore handler. So basically what we are doing, we are setting the level of the logger to debug, and then we are setting the format to time, then name, and then the message, and the file handler we will be logging all of it in a file, and that file would be called auto underscore delete dot log. As I have told you earlier, we will be hosting it on some cloud, and we want it to run in Python 3 and above, so we will be adding a shebang on the very top, that is has user has been hash Python 3.6 will do. Now the script will be used to delete the email messages, so we need both read and write privileges. The same is called scope in terms of Google API. So we will define the scope as https slash mail dot google dot com. This will give both read and write mode. And then we will be needing a service to access our mailbox, and since we will be using a function to create that service, for now we will be declaring that service as none. Now let's create the init function. The init function will be taking three variables. The first one is user ID, which in normal cases would be me and stands for the Google email account for which we have downloaded the credential files and for which we want to delete the emails. And the second one is token underscore file token.json. This would be the token.json file which will be generated when we will run this init function, and it would ask you to log into your desired account, and then this will download this token.json file. The last is credentials underscore file, which will be credentials.json, which we have downloaded earlier. Now we will be declaring service as a global variable and will be raising an error if the credential JSON file doesn't exist. So if not os.path.access credentials underscore file will raise an error. I'll copy it for you from here. This error will be raising this error, which will ask us to go to that Google email API client link and download the credential file. Since we are creating a custom exception, we have to create a class for that exception. That would be class auto delete exception would be an exception, and this would pass. This is the way if you want to create your own exceptions. So is equal to file storage slash token underscore file, and crash is equal to store dot get is basically the copy paste material, and you can also copy it from the Google API page. So I'll quickly copy it from my code snippets which are here. Okay. Now what we'll be doing is we will be running this function to create the token file. So if name is equal to name for function python autodelete.py, and it goes to the page and it asks us to sign in, and it asks us for the permission, and once we allow it, says the authentication flow has completed. So we'll go back to the folder and do the ls. A token.json file has been created. So now we'll be creating a search function which will be taking a query and the user ID, which again will be me. It will be taking a query which would be in the form of a string and will return messages which will match that certain query. Query has is the same as we will type in the search box of Google. For example, label could be unread from could be abc at the rate of email.com. Subject has this, attachment has this. There are many other options from which you can choose, and you can check it here on this link. I'll provide the link below, and see, you can look for stars, news, after, before, older, newer, etc. etc. The present case, the query will be like this. Query is equal to a string, and then we'll use the escape character to separate these lines. This, this, and this, this. This would be our query, and all the messages showing this query will be returned in the form of the Gmail message object, which are Gmail thread object, a list of dictionary, and each dictionary would be having an ID and the thread ID, and we'll be needing this ID to delete the messages. In our next step, we'll have to start the service, that is, if service is none in it, this will start the Google email service. Try response is equal to service dot user dot messages dot list bracket user ID is equal to user underscore ID comma q is equal to query execute, and then messages is equal to this, and if messages in response, that if its response contains any messages which matches our query, messages dot extend response slash messages. Now there could be the case when the messages are spread across more than one pages. In that case, we will be writing while next page token in response page underscore token is equal to response next page token, and then response is equal to service dot user bracket messages dot list user ID is equal to user underscore ID, and q is equal to query and page token is equal to page underscore token dot execute, and messages dot extend response hyphen dot messages, and at last it will return the messages except errors dot http error as e logger dot exception f and error occurred e. So basically this will search the messages which will matches our query. Now lastly we will be creating the delete function which will delete our messages on the basis of the query. It will also take two variables, query and user ID equal to me. Before writing this, just want to tell you that these messages will be permanently deleted and won't be moved to your trash box. So use it very cautiously. Populate the messages from using the search method, and then if we have messages, we will go message in messages service dot users dot messages dot delete, where user ID is equal to user underscore ID and ID of the message will be equal to ID message, and then dot execute. This using the ID which will be the output of this messages return. And finally we'll be logging this as info logger.info f message with ID message ID deleted successfully. And if there is no messages, in that case else we'll be leaving logger.info. There was no message matching the query. Finally, we will be running the script to delete the messages. So if name is equal to main, we will use this to delete underscore messages, and then the query would be this. Here. So basically what it will be doing is all the messages received from this email ID containing one-time password or OTP words in the subject will be deleted. First of all, I'll show you my inbox. So this is my inbox. It has messages from SBI card which have OTPs in them. And now we will save this script and now we'll run it. Python autodelete.py. Now the script has been run. Now we'll go to our inbox and refresh it. And whoosh, the SBI card messages are gone. We can confirm it from the log file on it. Our log file here, autodelete.log, and it will show that these messages were deleted from our by using the query. So in the next video, I will be showing you a way to host this script on some cloud service like Python Anywhere, and by that you can schedule it to run at a fixed time and delete all your messages matching the query. Till then, bye bye. I will leave the code in the description below. Thank you. Bye bye.